Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto's News. It's me, Omar Bam, aka Crypto. Man, I've missed you guys. It's been quite a bit since I made a last video, but I wanted to update you on some of the current events that are going on, as we always done here on Crypto's News. Yes, so it's been pretty busy for me, especially the last few weeks. For some reason, every single time on Wednesday when I'm ready to do a video and get it set up, some sort of personal issue has come up, or something around those that I live with, and I've had to deal with that. And the same kind of case today where Janelle is a little sick, so I had to run over to Walmart to get some supplies, some sick medicine supplies. And then I've joined an orchestra nearby where I play percussion, and we have a concert coming up soon on November 8th, but that is something I have to do later on today. So it's like my time just seems like it dwindles, partially because I go to sleep way too late. I don't know if you guys can relate. I keep trying to wind back the clock, but it's rough when I work into the evening, like after 11 sometimes, and then I got to rest and relax, and then I go to sleep too late, wake up too late, and then the cycle repeats. Go to work, and then days off, try to relax, recover, catch up on crypto, and then something comes up. So I apologize, I haven't been able to do a video, guys, but it's been a year of definitely like rest and recovery for me. I hope it's been great for you guys. It has not been so great for crypto. The total market cap recently came down below $1 trillion for the first time in 6 months for all cryptocurrencies. A lot of sell-offs that happened related to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and many other coins. We have seen inflation today tick up, driven in large part is being said by energy prices. So gas prices continue to climb, although you're seeing car prices stable out somewhat. Those were, especially used cars, climbing like crazy after the pandemic period. You're seeing rents apparently beginning to level off, but still you're seeing that inflation report that the Fed looks at was at 3.7% versus expectations of 3.6%, and that was up over the last month's 3.2%. So this is like on a year basis. So this is 3.7% from last year to this August. So yeah, despite having the interest rate up over 5% like we have it right now, it's still a case that the economy still seems quite hot. So the Federal Reserve will likely be doing that supposed last interest rate hike into the year, but that is not great for risk assets. It actually makes bonds really attractive to have, and cash. Like right now, Coinbase, if you park USDC, so basically US dollars on Coinbase, you're getting 5% on that right now, versus looking at crypto that has not been climbing. It really hasn't provided many gains recently. If you're holding bonds, if you're holding, because of these interest rates, if you're holding cash in many cases in different financial institutions, you're being rewarded more versus holding a risk asset like cryptocurrency. And so I think that's been a large driver of what's been a non-flow, basically, except for money sloshing around within it and out of it, around crypto. So that's something. There are opportunities out there, of course, outside of crypto, but I think the big bet here is, of course, on ETFs getting approved, on the Bitcoin halving coming up. So we have like the deadline for ARK ETF coming up, the final deadline where the SEC has to say yay or nay, coming up on January 10th. We know the SEC has been sued and lost for not citing valid reasons for denying an ETF in the past. So this might be putting pressure on the SEC to finally approve an ETF. And then we have a bunch of other ETFs coming up, like BlackRock's, which have a final deadline around March. So stay tuned for that. Like I said, the first quarter, I've said, is likely to be an exciting one, at least for volatility surrounding these ETFs. So stay tuned for that. We had Franklin Templeton, a new ETF from an asset manager that has $1.5 trillion worth of assets under management. They filed another ETF. So maybe they're seeing that this is likely to get approved. They're joining the party with the many others who have been trying to get an ETF for years, like Grayscale, which was that lawsuit, like Fidelity, I believe, as well. Now you have Van Eck has been trying to do it. So likely you'll probably see this first for Bitcoin, then likely for Ethereum following afterwards. but stay tuned for that. There have been a lot of recent crypto hacks that have, well, it's not really cryptocurrencies being hacked, but it's different platforms, smart contracts, exchanges. So to the tune of, there was a post that was breaking it down, about $270 million that has been claimed over the last 102 days by a North Korean hacker group, according to the FBI and investigators. They have hacked about $270 million from different platforms over the last 102 days, which is about $2.64 million a day. These are huge hacks. So for example, you had, what is it, on September 4th, you had a hack of stake.com, a big gambling site. I've mentioned it in the past before, related to crypto. Then you had CoinX, a crypto exchange, getting hacked for over $55 million just about 8 days later on September 12th. And you've had Atom Wallet be hacked as well. So this is not, again, like crypto direct, like private keys being uncovered. This is exchanges making mistakes, exploits being found, and them having to pay the price for this. Luckily, in these cases, from what I've seen, customers are not going to be facing losses, so I think that's good. But it goes to show that that it can be dangerous for sure, storing funds on a centralized platform. Like recently, Vitalik even got hacked, right? If you were on Twitter, then you might have noticed that Vitalik posted some scrupulous stuff. Turns out his ex profile was hacked. It was done through a SIM swap, social engineering SIM swap of his T-Mobile account, whereby basically social engineers, as they've been called, I'm sure you're familiar with them if you've been following crypto or you've been watching the show for some time, pretend to be somebody over the phone, and they get the SIM card, the phone number moved over to their SIM card, and they get access to that phone number. And you know, with phone numbers, oftentimes they're linked to different services, different exchanges that you might use, especially since you need them constantly now just to use the website. So that's or platform. That's what happened here with Vitalik. It looks like when he signed up for Twitter Blue, he forgot that he gave them his phone number, and that's very likely how they were able to get access by getting his T-Mobile account to his Twitter account. Luckily, they didn't post anything crazy. People were saying, imagine they said like, oh, this is, you know, they didn't have to say this Vitalik, it's coming right from his account. But anyway, they post, for example, that he was selling 80% of his ETH or something like that, how that could have caused a huge liquidation, a huge event by which the attacker could have shorted the market on some sort of decentralized exchange, perhaps like GMX, using smart contracts, taking that short position, put out the tweet, profited before it was revealed that this was not actually Vitalik who was doing this. But luckily that didn't really happen. The attackers were not very wise or privy to this kind of tactic, I suppose you could say. And since Vitalik has recovered his phone number, people are wanting him to sue, finally litigate this for all these different SIM swap attacks that happened, and get this resolved for everybody else. But this has happened before in the past. There have been settlements. Many individuals have lost crypto because of this. So be very careful. For example, Twitter, you can do OTP authentication. You can do authentication through like the Authy app. You link that to your Twitter. So basically you have these numbers that are generated, and you have to input that in order to log into your Twitter account as a second factor authentication, or third factor if you're counting like password, phone number, and then, well, you don't put in your phone number to log in. But you guys get what I'm saying. You can do 2FA with Twitter. People were saying it was a huge oversight for somebody. If Vitalik can get hacked, so can you. And I think that is really the big takeaway here, is that no one is perfect. But luckily not much damage was done in this particular case. Also, PayPal had lost quite a bit of money recently. Actually, Paxos, the issuer of PayPal and the custodian of PayPal's cryptocurrency assets, they paid apparently something like 2.8 Bitcoin transaction fee to send like 0.067 Bitcoin recently. So this was like $500,000 that they overpaid for mining of a single transaction. It took them 24 hours to realize this happened. Then they then paused withdrawals. But you know, somebody's probably getting fired or in trouble for this kind of transaction. It wasn't going to affect customers, but it was quite a hit to be taking from PayPal, who was apparently talking to the miner who was the recipient of the block reward, or the fee that was paid here to try to recoup those assets. I don't know. Maybe they'll settle on taking back $400,000, and the attacker keeps, not the attacker, the miner keeps $100,000. I don't know, something like that. I don't know what the exact specifics of this transaction are, but that's another thing that happened that I wanted to mention to you guys. We also had oh yeah, so Bitboy, big crypto YouTuber. I've had him on the show in the past. I've gone to different events and hung out with him. But he is someone who has been ousted from his company, as you probably have heard. And it was on allegations of, I've heard all sorts of things, drug use, misbehavior. And recently it's come out, apparently Crypto Banter, that YouTube channel that has Rand Neuner, who used to be the host of CNBC South Africa, and Crypto, their big crypto news outlet channel, I guess you could call it. Anyway, he's now on Crypto Banter, and apparently he's uncovered that that Bitboy was embezzling about $50,000 away from the company and using that to pay a mistress of his $50,000 a month as an independent contractor. This is in addition to using company assets to take personal loans and so many other ways that he basically siphoned out money that could have been used to grow the company or pay employees for personal benefit. But yeah, apparently he had said that he owned like 70% stake still in the Bitboy company. He's moving away from Bitboy. I don't know if you guys have seen the video. He put up like a 5-minute video where he was talking about how he's lost everything. They even sold his Lamborghini, because I guess it was a company Lamborghini, and he's going to rebuild it all again. But yeah, he's lost his YouTube channel, Bitboy. That's going to be kept by the company and the current controllers of it. And he's started again now as Ben Armstrong, saying that he's too old and mature now, right, to be called Bitboy. And it was a little bit weird. It took him this long, basically, to decide to ditch the brand, even though he expressed how great of a brand it was and branding. But it looks like he's having to rebuild from start. Not much like myself, but in a, I guess, similar way. It turns out, by the way, he doesn't have 70% stake. It's closer to like a 1/3 stake. And so he didn't really lose everything. The company is going to be seeking to pay out his stake to him. So I think it's going to be all right for Bitboy. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot more stuff going on. I just wanted to catch up with you guys because I missed you and I love you guys. And I'm still following this closely. As I've said, I think the big turnaround is going to be when the Fed finally reverses course. The bond market is apparently saying that the Fed is basically just going to start cutting rates soon, 100 basis points soon. I think that would drive liquidity again into cryptocurrency assets as they perhaps again could become more attractive relative to things like bond and cash. But it's still the case that it's just not where I think the smarter people who are allocating capital are putting their money into, since of course Bitboy, since cryptocurrency has had a big reputational hit from all these different hacks from bad actors who largely have been taken out of this space. Recently, one of the OneCoin founders, for example, you had this Mr. Greenwood. He was finally sentenced to pay $300 million and spent something like 20 years in prison after he had been captured in Thailand in 2018 for being one of the founders of OneCoin, a huge fraud that took in billions of investor money founded by him and this Ruja lady who disappeared after taking a flight to Greece and has been seen since 2017. Who knows where she is at? But he was captured and he's now paying the price for it. So he's won. I mean, you've seen Alex Mashinsky, you've seen Sam Bankman-Fried, who, by the way, was denied bail. He was trying to get bail again after being arrested, after being out, and then leaking Carolyn Ellison's diary, and then heading back to jail. Looks like he's going to be having to spend that time in jail prior to his trial. Although I heard one of the charges against him was dropped, there are plenty more that he's probably going to be having to face. So I think this is the kind of thing that will set up crypto for the better. But crypto needs to, I think, be promoting more of the good causes that it does for the world, how it can benefit us in a world of inflation, where that the US is going to be printing $1 trillion worth of bond basically throughout the end of the year, and this is something that eventually it's just simple supply and demand. Bitcoin, I think, from the hardcore believers, only has ever more faith, and it's the same with certain projects that you like as well. Although some are actually falling below, they're not really reaching highs that you're seeing with some of the bigger blue chip cryptos. So it is important, I think, to stay tuned to what you're holding. NFTs continue to perform badly. But yeah, if you're wary, I think Bitcoin is always the safest place to be. And for me, it's always been Ethereum, and continues to be that, still providing great yield. For example, some people like to buy this asset called STETH. You basically buy this and it automatically updates the balance that you have on your account over time to deposit this 1-for-1 peg of Ethereum into your account. So it's basically like a way to mine it without actually having to mine it or trust a centralized provider. I think that's an interesting option. There are plenty more out there that exist, and DeFi continues to, I think, be a very interesting place to look at with Ethereum for these kinds of opportunities, which will grow, especially once that Fed does reverse course. So we'll stay tuned for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. I'm trying to do these phone videos because I'm still bothered by the audio glitches you guys are seeing when I'm doing my live streams, and hopefully when I do move, I can get that resolved for you guys, and hopefully this video sounded a little bit better. So take care, everyone. Much love. Remember to hit like if you enjoy these videos, share these videos with friends, loved ones, people who care about crypto, and stay tuned for more. See you guys later. Peace.